Number 10. Working alone. Los Angeles is famous for being home to movie stars and all kinds of celebrities. Over the years, millions have flocked to the area to take a shot at fame or profit off of the entertainment industry in Hollywood. And with so many people in a spot all at once, it's not a question of if something bad will happen, but when. 24-year-old Brianna Cooper fell victim to LA crime at the hands of Sean Laval Smith. Brianna was a student at UCLA pursuing a graduate degree. On January 13, 2022, she was working at a furniture store on La Brea Avenue when Sean randomly attacked her. Right before the assault, Cooper texted a friend saying she was sketched out by a man walking around the shop, stating he looked very suspicious. There were no other employees in the store working that day. She was all alone when Sean took a knife and stabbed her over and over. An autopsy later revealed that Brianna sustained 46 injuries total, all over her body, each nearly 5 inches deep. Security cameras caught Sean leaving the store through a back alley. Then more footage showed him nonchalantly going into 7-Eleven and buying some snacks. While he did this, Cooper lay dead on the floor at the murder scene, lying in a pool of her own blood. She laid there for over 20 minutes until another unsuspecting customer found her and called the police. Authorities arrested Sean, but public outrage was sparked when LA District Attorney George Gascon suspended his case despite Sean's lengthy criminal history. This controversial decision was made in order to wait while the suspect undergoes a thorough mental health screening. Time will tell if justice for Brianna will be served. Number 9. Head of Hollywood. On December 27, 2011, a retired flight attendant named Harvey Median was strangled and killed. Years after his death, parts of his body were found in a cave nearby the famous Los Angeles Hollywood sign. In March 2014, a worker from the city was excavating in the Bronson Cave system when he found a bag containing human remains. 2 years before the cave discovery in 2012, 66-year-old Median's head was spotted by a dog walker along the trail leading up to the massive sign. Even with this, police couldn't find out what happened to Harvey, why he was killed, or who did it. Many theories circulated, though. Some claimed he was connected to a drug cartel, while others say he was a victim of infamous killer Luca Magnotta. But the truth eventually came out. Median's boyfriend, 40-year-old Gabriel Campos Martinez, was to blame. He claims he killed his lover because he thought they were growing apart and was afraid Harvey might ask him to move out. Investigators discovered damning evidence in Gabriel's internet search history. He had looked up, just a few days before Harvey's death, meat saws and how to make sausage. After the killing, the most disturbing search was butchering the human carcass for human consumption. With that, authorities pretty much had all they needed. The court found Gabriel guilty and he was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for the gory murder of his former lover, Harvey Median. Number 8. Revenge of the Felines. On September 25, 2022, a young woman named Hannah Starr Esser took revenge to a whole new level. She'd been accused of killing 43-year-old Louis Anthony Victor by running him over with her car. Now, if you're an animal lover, you might sympathize with Hannah here, even if she did take things way too far. Apparently, she saw Victor trying to kill a cat with his own vehicle. Obviously outraged by what she witnessed, Hannah angrily confronted the man. She recorded the interaction on her phone. She cussed him out for what he did, which would have been the end of things for most people. But Hannah supposedly wanted Victor to feel and truly understand the hurt he was causing an innocent animal. So after yelling at him, she went back to her car, got in, and sped right into Victor. She made contact and he crashed into her windshield before flying over her vehicle and landing behind her on the street. Victor died on the spot. The district attorney claimed that Hannah's actions, quote, showed a complete disregard for human life. But if what she said was true and Victor did try to harm the cat, she definitely showed a complete regard for feline life. What would you have done in Hannah's shoes? Tell us in the comments below and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. Number 7. Scooter Strike. On October 6, 2022, a 13-year-old boy entered a liquor store in Highland Park. While inside, the underage child apparently killed the owner of the store with a scooter. 68-year-old Stephen Reyes received a blow straight to the head and died from his injury the next day. The victim's daughter claims her dad was hit multiple times after catching the boy and some of his friends trying to steal alcohol. The group of kids had tried to steal from a Phil-Am earlier that same day. It's believed that along with the boy killer, another young man and 2 girls were there for the attack. It's incredibly sad that these children would go to such extreme measures for just some cheap booze. Detectives are still on the lookout for the remaining suspects and have said that anyone with information on the case should come forward. Number 6. 7-Eleven Killer. The 7-Eleven convenience store seems to be the store that attracts killers. 20-year-old Malik Donye Pat and his accomplice, 44-year-old Jason Lamont Payne, were arrested in July 2022 for a string of crimes that all took place in 7-Elevens across Orange County. 3 charges of murder, 3 robberies, attempted murders, and more have all been linked up to Malik and Payne. Their spree started on July 11th, 7-Eleven, when the two held up a store at gunpoint. Thankfully, in this instance at least, no one was seriously hurt, but just under 2 hours later, the suspects hit up another location. This time, a customer wasn't very lucky and was shot in the head. After this, the men visited a donut shop early in the morning at 3 a.m. and robbed it. A little later, they claimed another victim, a young man named Matthew Rule, outside, you guessed it, a different 7-Eleven. Apparently, Matthew was just going to the store to get his girlfriend a few things when he saw the suspects trying to rob a poor homeless man. Instead of acting like he didn't see anything, he tried to help and ended up losing his life in the process. Malik and Payne also shot and killed an employee and fired rounds at a man sitting in his car. Eventually, police tracked them down and took them into custody. Their sentencing remains unknown, but considering the gravity of their crimes, the men are eligible for the death penalty without a doubt. Number 5. Lady Gaga's dogs. Lady Gaga is the queen of authenticity. She has millions of adoring listeners and fans and is arguably one of the most famous people in the world. But did you know this pop icon is also a loving dog mom? On February 24, 2021, Gaga's 3 French bulldogs were on a walk with the star's dog walker, Ryan Fisher, when a group of 3 individuals walked up and shot at him. Police believe one of the suspects to be 19-year-old James Howard Jackson. After piercing Ryan's lung with a bullet, the men ran off with 2 of the animals. The dogs they took were named Koji and Gustav. A few days after the dog napping, Gaga had put out a $500,000 reward for their safe return, and one of the suspects came forward. He revealed the names of his accomplices, Jalen White and Lafayette White. All 3 of these men and even 2 others connected to the crime were given charges. They claimed they had no idea the bulldogs belonged to Lady Gaga. Apparently, they had heard how much Frenchies can go for on the black market, and they just wanted money. The thieves didn't know who they were messing with. After the incident, news of Koji and Gustav being taken went viral. Police believe the men got concerned over all the attention and just wanted to be done with the situation. What would you do if someone kidnapped your pet? Tell us in the comments below. Number 4. Serial Santa. Christmas is supposed to be the happiest time of the year, spent with your family and loved ones, being grateful for everything that's happening in life. But on Christmas Eve in 2008, one Los Angeles family did not have the festive evening they might have hoped for. Santa Claus showed up on the doorstep of Sylvia, Bruce Pardo's ex-wife, ready to give out presents. Sylvia's 8-year-old daughter Katrina ran up to Mr. Claus before her mother could say anything. The child was just about to give him a hug when suddenly, Santa took out 2 guns and pulled the trigger. After firing at the child, he turned towards the others in the household. There happened to be a Christmas party that night, so there was a small group of people. It didn't take long for them to realize that Santa was actually Bruce. He was there to get revenge on his ex-wife and her family after their recent divorce. His targets weren't specific. Bruce shot at anyone in his way, claiming 9 victims that night. Local news outlets called the massacre Santa's shooting spree. You might be wondering why he was so angry, and it's believed that Sylvia and Bruce divorced after she discovered he had a secret child with another woman. If this wasn't bad enough, Bruce wanted nothing to do with the kid because they were disabled. He wrote them off as if they didn't exist, and when Sylvia found out about this, it was like she was married to a stranger. The man she loved wouldn't have done something like that, but then again, he also wouldn't have shot 9 people. After the shooting, Santa unwrapped the present he brought with him. It was a giant homemade flamethrower that he used to set the house on fire. 80 firefighters worked for over 2 hours to put out the blaze, and at the end of it all, Bruce sustained major burns. It was so bad that his cheap costume had fused with his skin from the heat. Police found the killer Santa's body dead in his brother's home 30 miles away. Bruce had shot himself. He likely couldn't live the reality of what he had done. Christmas would never be the same. Number 3. PNB Rock. Well-known rapper PNB Rock was fatally shot in September 2022 during a believed robbery at Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles. Rock, also known as Rakeem Allen, was at the restaurant with a friend and his girlfriend when someone came up and attacked him. It's believed the suspects saw a photo of the location that the rapper had posted on social media and came to confront him. After exchanging a few words, the man shot Rakeem a few times and then escaped in a vehicle parked outside. Police think that he was targeted for the valuable jewelry that he was wearing at the time. Rock's death made ripples throughout the hip-hop community, and artists as big as Nicki Minaj expressed their sympathy and grief over his passing. In his career, Rock collaborated with big names such as Chance the Rapper and even Ed Sheeran. It's incredibly sad that such a bright talent was taken so early. Number 2, DNA cracks the case. In an incredible show of technological prowess, a murderer and rapist was caught after a DNA sample was taken from the sidewalk and used to identify him. 38-year-old Giovanni Borjas was caught last month and accused of sexually assaulting and killing 17-year-old Michelle Lozano and 22-year-old Brianna Guzman back in 2011. In court, Borjas pleaded no contest to these accusations, but the evidence against him is solid. After over a decade of grief and sadness, waiting for justice, the families of the victims may finally get to see the man who took their daughters' lives get what he deserves. On April 24, 2011, Michelle's body was found in pieces near the interstate, held in plastic bags. Brianna's body was found intact in 2012, but with some pieces of clothing missing. Autopsies of the girls revealed that they had both been sexually assaulted. In 2017, Borjas was first arrested and charged, but his trial and court proceedings have just recently started. Originally, he faced the death penalty, but it's likely that he won't receive it. His sentencing will take place on December 12th of this year. Number 1, drugged. In 2021, Los Angeles police arrested a group of 3 men for the deaths of 2 women. The victims were named Christy Giles and Hilda Marcella Cabrales Arzola, and they were just trying to make a name for themselves when they were targeted. Giles was dropped off outside the Southern California hospital on November 13th. Witnesses say the men who left her there were wearing black masks covering their faces and driving a Prius without its license plates. Not long after, the young woman passed away. Arzola was left in front of a Kaiser Permanente medical facility just 1 day before her birthday. Doctors declared her brain dead, and her family made the incredibly difficult decision to take her off of life support. It's believed that the girls were drugged after going to a nightclub in Hollywood. The 2 were supposed to grab an Uber together, but never got picked up. Autopsies showed signs of heroin in Arzola's system, but her family claims she never would have willingly taken a drug like that. 3 suspects have been taken into custody regarding the incident. They are David Pierce, Michael Ansbach, and Brant Osborne. Little information about their trials or sentencing have been released, but hopefully justice is served for Hilda and Christy. Thanks for watching. Would you rather live in Los Angeles or New York? Which big city do you think has more crime? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye!